All right, so um, this IL is basically 20 to 30 seconds long in practice. There's really only 4 main spots to save time. But we'll see how big each of them are for you. Also, sorry, I just woke up. Okay, so this right here, um, generally for this door, you want to position yourself a little further back, start running a little sooner. Essentially, what this does is it takes a little bit of time for Eggman to get to full speed. You want to make sure that Eggman is absolute full speed when you're going through this door. That just saves a little bit of extra time. This door looks pretty good though. Um, so this is you get this door just a little early. I mean, you've still got probably like about a tenth a second of walking before you would have bonked on it, but that's good timing. It's just you want to be further back because you're still accelerating. But this check ends up being 8-1x. Okay, so you're not losing too much time here. This is realistically about 9 frames from my PB. You can get 790s. So there's technically like up to 0.25 to save here if you're like really crazy, but realistically, I would say 80x's are what I usually aim for. So 81x is not far off from that. Okay, so the next big part to look at are these boxes. It's deceptively easy to lose time on these, because the approach is very important for little minute time loss, and also the way you exit the boxes is very important for little minute time loss. So this right here, you're starting your pause hover right here. You should be starting your pause hover quite a bit later, like probably more like where you are right here. You basically should not see Eggman anymore whenever you start your pause hover, or like more of him should be off screen. Let me see if I can pull up my PB I just got. I'd compare to SMB's, but he hasn't uploaded it yet. Okay, so yeah, you see, whenever I hover, I can only see Eggman's leg at this point. So it's a lot later. Your angle is good. You want to be angled further over. Let me go back to it. So this angle is pretty good. You're angled sufficiently right. You didn't slow yourself down a ton for it. You didn't clip the wall a ton for it. It's just you hovered too early. Could have kept going with this angle for a little bit longer. So what that means in practice is whenever you hover, I'm gonna slow this down. Oh, that's the sleep timer. So you see, you land on it perfectly fine because of the strength of your pause hover was a little weak, but actually watching, you can see that you hover too high and then hover back down, whereas ideally you should just see, I hover up to it. There's no downtime of me hovering back down. Like you can clearly see whenever the camera comes back into view that I'm still hovering up whenever I land on this. This is basically a perfect first jump. My second jump is pretty sloppy, but I'll get to that. So that's the start. This second jump this is the one that I think is like really, really tricky. It's so easy to lose time on this. As annoying as it is for the boxes, you are really better aiming for the right, like this square here. If you don't like that, I mean, I've gotten 56 OXs with the left side just fine, which is more where you're aiming. I think you end up going through the middle here. But yeah, essentially you're gonna want to do the same sort of thing that you did for the initial jump, but here, where you want to minimize as much time hovering up as possible, and you want to cut this so close that you like snap to the ledge. You don't want to go above it and then drop onto it. You're like hitting it like level or like ever so slightly below, and Eggman snaps up to it, and that gets you more speed. And so you're coming at this pretty good. You do get the snap here. So actually this is pretty good. The only thing I see that can save a little bit more time here is just because of the line you're taking, you're losing a little more time here. You lose more distance to run on the boxes, because that will give you a little bit more time of ground speed. And that's why ideally you want to go right side, because right side lines you up well to run along these boxes. But yeah, this is totally legit. I love whenever I get ones like this where I only break one row of boxes and I just cleanly go through, fit the egg between two boxes. It's great. But I think that's about it on that part. I won't talk your ear off on that more. Yeah, I think you actually do this better than I do. But I think we about break even because of what I was saying, where I take a more inside line, so I get more time to run on those boxes. So even though you get a snap and I don't, I get more speed here. Let's compare these times. Actually, I want to see how far behind you are right now. Like I always said, I'm not going to talk your ear off, and then I'm like, yeah, what if I talk your ear off? So yeah, you can see this is 0.3 here, just between these two things. 0.15 of that was from the first check, and then 0.15 of it was from these two boxes. But yeah, this line is good. So I think this door is really difficult to handle. I feel like it's really easy to be too greedy with it or to be way too safe with it. You unfortunately get the latter here. I mean, of course, if you were too greedy, the run's dead. But I will say, I think this line you take here loses a little bit of time, where you go far out and then come in. And this works for the door in the hallway after this really well, so that might be where this has been learned from. But at least in this case, you're not really going to have time to maintain speed for this door. So ideally what you generally want to do is you just hug this corner and like jump around or turn around in such a way that for this, the same thing with the start. I'm going to go back to the start real quick because it's relevant here too. Like how you hug this corner real tight. And the reason you're doing this is because as soon as you pass this right here, this is where the door trigger is. So the door starts closing immediately after then. And the same principle applies here, where As soon as you pass this, this door starts closing. See, it's already closed. But unfortunately, you're just a little safe here. So this is just time loss. So let's see, when does this door break? Breaks on 1717. And I would say it would have been about another 2/10 before you bonked. The first door wasn't bad because, like, yeah, it was like a 10th. But realistically, if you're that close, you're in good shape. You can get 80X's with a door break that close. Probably get 7s. I don't know. I only get 799s, so I don't know how to get 790s if that's what you're after, which I don't think you are, but if you ever do a door break that clearly looks like the door broke before you got to it, then you lost time. If it looks like the door breaks as you reach it, you're in good shape, even if it's a few frames. This one, I could clearly see at full speed that it broke before you got to it. So funny clip. Okay, you do have input display. I don't know why I couldn't see it. So this approach is decent. See the actual clip. Okay, that was actually a really, I think this is actually going to save you quite a bit of time. This actually looked like a really fast setup. I was wondering because I was looking at the rest of this and I'm like, I think your out of bounds loses time to me. This loses time to me. The other two things we talked about lose time to me. So I was wondering where you gained the time back. And I think this is where you gain the time back. So I want to compare times again just so we can see the extent of the time loss. Say right there, that's 1740. Oh yeah, here's an example of what I mean. This is a really good door break. This was like dead on. I'm like 1706. I don't know why is this recording so hard to read? Should be 60 FPS. I may have to upload this. It's supposed to be in 60. But yeah, this was overall, this was probably about another 10th for me. Maybe a little less. It actually is not that much. So this is a difference about 0.35 right now. And then this is a really good, oops, not mean to full screen. Really good. Well, let's go back to doing frame by frame for this kind of stuff is always fun. Hmm. 1955 flip out. Nice, by the way. I see you are doing the upright to exit method. Quite cool. Not biased. Yeah, I get a pretty weird flip out here, so I should definitely be losing. Actually, they break about even. I wonder if it's there's definitely, and this is why I'm interested to see SMBs too. There's definitely some very interesting quirks with this clip where unconventional things are still fast. I'm really surprised to see this actually, because apparently this, which I thought looked perfect, way better than mine, apparently broke even with mine. So there's something with, like, even though my line was worse, I got more speed. And so I got up there about the same pace. It's really weird because in this PB, this was cope. This was a cope clip. I remember doing a micro adjustment to get this clip, and I'm like, I lost way too much time. This run is dead. But anyway, so let's look at your out of bounds here. Okay. So, yeah, I think this is probably the biggest thing for you at this point. Because at this point, from what this means, we broke even on the clip. So you're losing 0.35 on the rest of this level. And the rest of this is basically an auto scroller. Yeah, the big reason, by the way, I like this upright thing where you just hold the angle is you shouldn't lose speed like you're talking about when you clip out. I'd be interested if you have any videos of that to see what you mean. But yeah, basically with this, you're already going the direction that you should be going roughly. But anyway, so this is 0.35 behind, and then so since you are doing the safer method, yes, this is safe, but it loses quite a bit of time. Ideally, you're gonna want to, if you want to push this lower, you're gonna want to learn specifically positionings on how to get this like close out of bounds. You don't have to be this close. I'm shocked that I stayed clip out on this, but you don't have to be this close to get this camera, but you know you're in good shape if you get this camera. Whereas the other one is more reliable, but a little slower. And basically all that determines that is you turn a little slow here. Like you can almost see here for a second that it's trying to lock on to Eggman. So you can tell from like this frame right here that Eggman is basically right out here. He's a little too far out. This was actually probably pretty close to getting the good cam. You just needed to turn your stick a little bit fast. Whereas if I pull up that same frame in this one, what? Sorry, I've never looked at this before this closely. So yeah, you can tell by the difference that even though you can't actually see Eggman, he is right outside of this wall. Just because of camera angles and where the character should normally be when the camera's actually following. So you were close here. Just turn it a little bit faster and you'll get that angle. And when you get that angle, you're gonna be wanting to hold like just like up left, and then it transitions to a little more like straight up. You'll notice on this one, I correct more to up briefly. And that's because later on in this hallway, it's not a pure straight line. If you hold one direction, you're gonna clip in here towards the end. That's pretty normal. I actually overcorrect a little here. But this angle is good for the safe strat. You can actually, I will say, if you're gonna commit to the safe strat, you should hold even more left. Something that can happen whenever you get this safe strat at first is if you hold left hard enough, you'll correct far enough back that you'll get this camera. And as soon as you get this camera, then you have time to swap to up left. And that's still a little faster. So let's see, when do you get camera? Okay. I think that really is about where all of the rest of this was lost, is just that initial out of bounds. And that's why I say this is like a 30-second IL. The rest of this does not matter. There's like a couple frames to be gained and lost. So yeah, that's about the gist of it. I will say as well regarding this, you're holding a little too aggressively left here, and you realize it after you pass this that you're actually angled too far left, and then you correct yourself. But I mean, this probably lost a frame, maybe two. So the rest of this is just hover, hover, hover. You're still a little far left, but again, this probably lost like a frame, maybe two. Ideally, you can get angled like this pretty much immediately, and that technically is ideal. It'll save you, like, again, a frame. But yeah, that is about the gist of it. Let me know if you've got any other questions. That should have covered all the main stuff. Don't really worry about tightening up this out of bounds until you've tightened up everything else, particularly like the initial out of bounds, I guess, is what I'm saying. Because this is by far the biggest source of time loss, where if you can get a good out of bounds here, you'll save quite a bit of time. You'll start seeing like 56.4, 56.3. And then with the other stuff, you can start seeing even lower 56s. But yeah, that's about it.